there is synchronization between this wheel and this wheel. So this will need to move in this way, and this wheel also should move in this particular direction. And if this wheel is moving at 60 kilometer speed, so even this wheel also should move at 60 kilometer speed. Or else what it will happen? So then the vehicle will be get slowed down. If it is going with a 60 and this is going with a 40, then the vehicle will get slowed down. So now the synchronization between these particular wheels is required. So now what it will happen is, whatever the action you do, for example, you're giving one instruction to Java. So what you're trying to do, you're trying to say that uh, A plus B. So now you've given an instruction. So this particular instruction, for executing this one, it will run it in thread. Whatever the instructions and whatever the process, it will happen. So that takes one particular thread. Actually, there is a concept of safe thread in Java. Safe thread. So why we use it, what is the purpose of the safe thread? We will talk about it. So now threads is nothing but if you're running any particular processes. So one particular process is called a single thread. See, I'll not go into the details of this one, but you should understand what do you mean by synchronization, so that it will be easy for you to understand this particular list and everything. Now, you will be for an example, even I can say this one as task. When you're performing a single task, a particular thread is assigned for you. If you're performing multitasking, then you would be having multi-threads for this. Example, now what you're trying to do, so you're trying to write, and on one hand, you're trying to eat some chocolate. So you have two hands. With one hand, you're writing, and another hand, you're eating your chocolate. Right? So now this is the multitasking, right? So same, this is called, means with the one hand you're doing it, right? So that is thread. So with the thread, you're doing that particular action. Means you are having hand, in the hand you have one, in one hand you have chocolate, and on another hand you are writing, and another you are listening music. So this is completely, means your brain is doing, means there is certain medium to perform that particular task. So those are called threads, right? So now one task you are eating chocolate, one task you are writing, one task you are listening to the music. So this is how the complete multitasking will be working. Means this particular threads will do a process or a particular task. So that is a basic purpose of a thread. So thread is a medium. So from where these particular threads will be coming, it is from your CPUs, you'll be having it, right? So in the CPU, you'll be saying that octa core, octa. So now core processors, you'll be having it, right? One processor, the processor will give that particular thread. So based upon that particular threads, it takes that particular task and perform on the respective. Now what it will happen is, when Java executing this one, so when we have this particular multiple threads, for example, I just wanted to do a login for a particular page with a username and with a password and the login button. So first I wanted to log in with 001. Second, I wanted to log in with 002, 003 and 004. Now, when I do individually, there is no problem. So with the 001, I used to give the 001 password and then log in. But when I give these two things at one shot, parallelly, now the password for this one is 007 and for this one is 008. But now what it will happen, so this is username and this is password. This is username and password. Now there is a chance that this particular password 007 goes to 002 and 001 may take 008. So this would be a problem for us, right? Now what we will try to do is, Java will try to do this particular synchronization and threading concept, and with this one, it will bind this particular data. So now, if for this data, you need to use this. For this particular data, you need to do this. So this is called threading concept. So in the threading, what it will do is, it binds that particular task to that particular thread. So in thread number, this is thread number 1. this is thread number 2. In the thread number 2, you need to get 002 with 008. Means this is a username and this is a password. So that is how it will be binding the data to the threads. And with that thread, okay, now if I call thread 1, it will come 001 here and 007. If I call thread 2, it will come 002 and 008. So this is how the threading concepts will be working. And these all things would be in synchronize. So now if you see here, this would be parallelly in sync. Means these particular threads, was you take this, I take this. Okay, so yours is this is mine. I'll not touch yours, you don't touch mine. So that is how it will be coming in a synchronized way. If anything happen, then that will become an unsync because you don't have understanding between your partners. So your friend is there, hey boss, for example, you both are doing business. If you both are sync, the business, it will go well and you can take the business to the next one. If you both are unsync, definitely it will be not possible, right? The same way. So now when it is in synchronized way, it takes that particular test data and then it will go to the functionality and then it works. If you don't have that particular synchronization, it will not work. So this is called synchronization. And we have also talked about the threads also. Why I'm talking about the synchronization and threads? So these are the things which we will be using in the array list. I'll be mapping this one. So just I have given you a quick intro on synchronization. See guys, this is a huge topic. So in the implementation of the frameworks, definitely we'll be using the concept of safe threading, Java safe threading. So this is called Java safe or safe threading. So just as of now, you need to understand basics. You don't need to go for the more complicated things. What is a thread now? So now what we have been discussed. What is a thread and what is synchronization? Basic high view on the thread and synchronization we have been discussed. Thread is nothing but it's a medium that where we can perform certain tasks. Okay, and synchronization. So with the help of this particular synchronization, all this particular medium of task will be performed. So it will be performed parallelly with having a proper distribution and understanding between each and every task. So I don't want to see if I given this particular definition, it is really hard to understand. So that's the reason I have been given this particular example so that you can remember for it. Okay. So now if you say that, hey, I completely not understand this one, somewhere partially I understand what is thread, what is synchronization. That is also fine. But at least you should know partially also what is a thread and synchronization. That is enough. The sync is, you need to simply map that sync is parallel and then there should be understanding. Unsync means it is not parallel, there is no understanding between it. Randomly it access. Okay, I don't want to spend longer time, but for one last example, I'll try to give it. So because I remember this in this particular way, so that I remember it for a longer time. What is synchronization and async? This is the last example. I go to a coffee shop. Okay, and I went to this particular coffee shop, and then I went to the counter. I ordered the coffee, and then I waited for the coffee. I get that particular coffee, and I drag the table, and then get a newspaper, and then while drinking coffee, I'm looking into the newspaper. If you see here, the activities are one by one synced. So this is called synchronization. Now, async. I went to a coffee shop. I ordered the coffee. What I did, I went for a table, drag the table, and then I have the newspaper. And when coffee came, they called me. Then I get my coffee. And anyways, my newspaper and table is ready so that I'll sit and then I have been drawing this. Asynchronous call means we would be waiting for this. Instead of waiting, I perform my all other actions. Instead of waiting for that one, I performed all the actions. When it called, I went and then get that one. So now before that itself, I've taken the table. Before that, I taken the newspaper and I'm reading it. And when the coffee came, they called me. I just went there and I get that coffee and then I back the table. But here what happened? Everything in order, a particular order. Means I went to coffee shop, I ordered a coffee, I waited there standing, I get my coffee and I went to my table, and then once I just dragged the table and I get a newspaper, then I start drinking the coffee with the newspaper. See, if you, both the examples, what I'm trying to do, I need to drink the coffee with, just give me 1 second. So it reminds me. Okay, fine. So drink the coffee with newspaper. So this is what I need to do it, right? So that is what I may do it in this pattern or this pattern. So this is called synchronization, and this is called asynchronization. Synchronization and asynchronization. So now these are each things are task, right? A simple task. See, dragging a table, getting a newspaper. So these are the simple tasks which I'll be performing it. So this is what the basic differences between a synchronization and asynchronization. Okay. Still, if you are confused, just hold on for some time, because this is purely development concepts. We will not get into these particular threads and these things now. But when you are testing, you should understand the basic level. See, because these are, you need to, means they will be implementing this particular asynchronous calls. So this will be called as sync and async calls. Async calls. So when someone is talking about this one, you just remember this coffee example, so that you can, oh, I understand this, but you can at least bring it up. Okay. Let me now go for, so insertion order. So we know the topic of LIFO, FIFO. What is LIFO and FIFO?
Last in, first out,
Last
first in,
in, first out, and
first
first
in,
in,
first
last
out.
out.
First in, first out, last in, first out. So last in, first out. First in, first out. Okay, so these are the LIFO FIFOs. So now what is this is called? These are insertion orders. What is this insertion orders? Whether it fall LIFO or FIFO. So what you meant by this one is, for an example, there is a shelf. Okay, not like this. You are arranging the books. Like this, you are arranging the books. Just imagine. So now first you have been kept book 1. Next, book 2, book 3, book 4, book 5, book 6. Now if you see here, you got the order. So now this is what your insertion order. So now when you wanted to remove the first book, you have been kept here. But when you're removing this one, this would be the last. While inserting, this would be the first. But while removing, this would be the last. And the last book you kept on the top, this would be the first book to pick it up. So rather than in a shelf, this example might be good if at all there is a cartoon box. In the cartoon box, you kept all the books. Now you wanted to remove that particular books from this particular cartoon box, right? So, or let me take this one. So why we need to make it very dry? So you have chapatis. So anyways, we'll prepare. Usually, my mom will prepare all these chapatis in the night. So for the dinner, so she prepares, right? The last chapati which she puts, so that's a, when I'm taking it up, so this would be the first out. So this is called last in, the last in, first out. Means, so for example, there are 5-6 chapatis. Now This is the first chapati she put and then put it into the hot case or hot pack. Now when we are removing, so this is the last one, so that we will be removing that one as a first. So this is called first, last in, first out. So this is the last one we kept it, but you have been taken this one as a first. So that is the call as last in, first out. Now, if it is in this particular hot pack, this is the way we will be removing it up, right? Now, see now the same order. So the first we will be removing this. For example, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So first I'll remove the fifth one, second, fourth, third, second one. So this is this order which I'll be coming it out. Now, I have a particular tray. Okay, in the tray 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now this is the order, right? So now I'll insert first. Means this is the first thing which I inserted, and I'm removing the first one. Second thing I inserted, removing the second one. Third thing I inserted, fourth thing I inserted, fifth thing I inserted. Whatever I inserted, I removing that in the same order. So that is called first in, first out. So last in, first out, first in, first out. So this is what these all things comes into the insertion order. So whatever the order I followed. So now in the insertion order, if I'm inserting this one, I need to remove that in the same order. This is called insertion order. So it stores, hey, it may, see now, hey, you may think that, hey, whether it follows a LIFO or FIFO, anyways that we'll discuss. But what is insertion order means, if you're inserting certain elements, you would be having the order for that one. Hey, this is the first element. This is the second element. This is the third element. This is the fourth element. You're giving this order. While you inserting, you are giving an order. So this is called insertion order. So it stores that particular insertion order, and this particular order, it may depends upon the LIFO or FIFO. Now, when we go for the discussion, we'll see that whether it's a LIFO or FIFO. So that is where this particular things will be discussed. Okay. So holistically, so what are the concepts we have discussed? Thread, synchronization, insertion orders. Okay, insertion orders is nothing but it's simple. While you inserting any particular thing, you maintain the order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this. And this particular insertion order may be performed in the two ways. One is LIFO and FIFO. So now LIFO means last in, first out. FIFO means first in, first out. So the same thing. So the last one which you picked up, you kept it, you'll be bringing that one as a first out. So then this is called LIFO. And first in, first out. So as we maintain the order, so that is called FIFO. Okay, because so this would be happen on your remove. You have the remove method, right? So there, whether it follows the LIFO or FIFO, so these things you should be understanding there. Okay, fine. Let me go for now the theoretical concepts. So anyways, here also we completely discussed, but these are prerequisites for the task. So the prerequisites for the task which we have been taken for this. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, fine. So then let me take you through the topic. So hope you are able to see the screen, right? So go here for the list. First topic. It is not showing the list. See, now what is a list? Java provides the facility to maintain the order collection. It contains the index space method to insert, update, delete, search, and it have the duplicates we can we can store the null values in the list. Okay, let me give you the pointer and note down these pointers. Usually I implement and then do it on the Eclipse itself. But anyways, as this is a theoretical pointers, I try to explain in the board. First one, what is a list? Here we're going to talk about the list, because once you understand the list completely, going to the array list is very simple. That is what my idea of explaining the list. Now, when you go to the list, okay, the first thing which it is doing here, the statement which it is trying to say, it is maintains the order collection. So now let me take that one as a second point. So now the name itself, from where this particular list is coming from, collection, right? So collection, from the collection you are getting the list. Means what? Collection means you do have certain group of things making it as a collection. See, for example, you'll say that stamp collection. What do you mean by stamp collections? So different countries stamps you'll be collecting. Or coin collection. Hey, I have a hobby of coins, different country coins. Means you're collecting certain things into a group, right? So now then that is called as a collection, right? So how you will be maintaining that in Java, in lists, right? So now a group of particular data types, you wanted to maintain them, so we'll be maintaining them in the list. You can say that a group of objects, or okay, rather than saying the objects, you might be confusing here. Let me take this as a group of elements so that it would be easy for you to understand. So the terminology would be very easy. So that's the reason I'll be keeping that. A group of elements. Two, what you means, once you prepare a group of elements, what you will try to do? You will sort, you will search, you will insert, you will delete it. So now these are the different operations, or modify or enhance. So these are the different type of operations you perform on this particular elements. So the first definition of a list is handling, okay, handling a group of elements is called a list. In this particular list, we perform a different type of operations. So performing the different type of operations on this particular elements, okay, different type of operations on this particular elements. Now, what are the different type of operations which we have been explained on this? Sorting, searching, inserting, deleting, modification. So this is called, so the different type of operations performed on the elements. Now, these elements will have insertion order, or you can say that ordering of elements. So now, for example, I have 10 means there are 10 apples. Okay, I'll be saying that apple 1, apple 2, apple 3, apple 4. So I'll be giving this particular numbers. Now, what is this particular numbers called as? What is this particular numbers called as?
Address.
Index.
These are called indexes. See, when you say the addresses, when it comes to memory, in memory you'll be calling them it as address. These are like IDs. So to access this particular elements, so with this particular IDs only you're accessing. See, you'll be having your roll numbers in your class, or when you go for your examination. So you'll be having this hall ticket numbers. So with your unique hall ticket numbers, it will be identified, right? That's it. So those are the things which it is called indexes. To access them, we'll be accessing with this particular index number. So it will be having the insertion and ordering of that, and it will be having this particular index to access them. Okay, so now this is a very brief about the list. So lists are handling a group of elements, and we perform different type of operations. So insertion, search, deletion, modifications and all, and it will hold the insertion orders, and it will have the indexes to call those particular things. That's it. That's it. So that is what we have been discussed. And another two important things in the list, we can have duplicate values. Guys, you need to remember these pointers, because when you understand this one, when you do the contrast with other elements, another wing, for example, now we have another wing also, right? What is another wing? Queues and set. For the collection, LQS, right? Queues and set. Why we are talking about these particular pointers means this will vary for them. See, insertion order. Why I'm talking about this one? You need to understand index. Why we'll have these indexes? And duplicate. So now, example, I'll be saying it, right? In list, you can have the duplicate elements. Means, for example, now I can store the element 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 40. See, now here, these are the duplicate elements, 10 and 40. But in set, you will not have the duplicate values. See, that is the difference. If you understand this concept now here, so that it will be easy for you to do the contrasting. That is the reason I'm writing these particular pointers for you. So this can have a duplicate values. The list can have a duplicate values, and it can also store the null values. Null value means there is no value at all, but empty space access will be keeping it, because the behavior of this null is different in this set. When we're talking about the sets, you'll understand this pointer. But as of now, do concentrate on the list. So now what are the pointers? Handling a group of elements together, then this is called a list. Now list is derived from the collections. Now this is from the collections only, right? This is from the collections only. Now you can perform different type of operations on this particular list, which is like sorting, searching, insertion, deletion, modification, enhancement. And it will have the insertion orders. It will have the indexes. And it will by the index only will be accessing that elements, and it can be duplicate the values. Means in the list we can duplicate the values, and it can have the option of the null. It can store the null elements in the list. Null elements in the list means 10, 20. Here I can keep one null, and can I keep another null also? Another null element?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Yes, sir. It allows duplicate.
Absolutely.
Duplicate
It
values.
allows a duplicate. That is the reason. See, now that is the logic you need to understand. You may not understand this one. See, when you are when you are learning something, for example, for a sword fight you're learning, you'll not understand, hey, when I should use this particular sword fight. But when you throw it into a war, the situation will come where you will use by default. When you have, why we need to understand this one is, this will help you immensely in your database testing. I'm telling you, right? If someone is really good in collections, they will rule the database testing, because you will have some tons and tons of data. Which one I used to use? So those things will be understanding by this. So you have to be a little bit cautious of that. Okay. So these are the basic pointers. Okay. So we have been discussed on it. The list found in the Java util package, that we already know that utils means all the complete lists and everything will be coming in, and it inherits the collection interface. So this also I'll write it here so that it will be easy for you. So this will be coming from the Java utils package. Okay, and then java.util package, and then this is having this is inherited. Okay, inherited from collections, right? This is inherited from collections, collection, interface. We have to be cautious. See, if someone asked you a list, what do you meant by a list? If someone asked, simple, hey boss, these all definitions will be giving it. I'll tell you how you can even remember also. So now, and it is a factory of list iterator interface. Through that particular list iterator, you can iterate the list of forward direction and backward direction, and then the implementation of this interfaces are a link stack vector. These programs is called as well. Okay, fine. The most important thing is I'll not go into the details of this because anyways will be discussed in this particular classes. Okay, but still, as many of the people are getting confused, one simple logic I'll try to give it why we need to use this particular iterators. We'll be having the iterator, right? So always you're talking about these iterators. We can use a for loop or while loop. Why we need to use the list iterator? I said you hold on for certain time. One small difference I'll give it, and then I'll go ahead. In for loop, okay, or in the loops, any loop, while loop or do while or anything, you can go in one direction. Means you can increment. For example, first you have 1, then you can increment to 3. Then, for an example, there is an incremental counter plus 2. Okay, then it will go for 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. This is the way you'll be going it, right? This is the order you can go on. Can you, when you are in 5, if you wanted to come back for 3 and 1, can you come back?
No, no, sir.
That is the advantage of iterator. So it can go forward, it can come backward also. Is this one point is not enough to use the iterators? Because there are a list. I can go move further or I can come back. Anything I can do with this particular iterator, but not with this loops. So this iterator can be used only in the lists or this particular collections. So now, for example, you have Swiggy. You will place an order in a restaurant. So you have here Bilal Biryani Center. Okay, one of the famous centers here. So where you can have a delicious biryani here. So you ordered that. Now when you order this one, it will be showing a tracker. We'll be open the tracker and we'll see that how much time it will take. Will you see that tracker in Swiggy, or will you open your Google Maps and then you'll see it in this? Both are showing you maps. See, in Swiggy also they are showing the Google Maps because they depend on the Google Maps to show you that particular map. And in Google Maps also you'll be having this map. Or another good example is you're traveling from one place to another place. So for an example, now you're traveling from Sholinganallur to Paris. Now when you're traveling in this particular direction, Ola, you booked it, and in the Ola you'll be having a tracker. It will show you the map. Even in the Google Maps or G Maps, you can see that. Which one you will follow? Means if there is actually the feature is same. It both shows the navigation. In Ola, it shows the navigation. In G Maps also it shows the navigation. So we probably using this particular Ola Maps itself because it's an inbuilt, so that it is easy for you to use. And then when we getting down, so okay, this is the directions we'll be taking it, and this is the fare it will be getting it. So probably we'll be using that particular maps only rather than the G Maps. Same in terms of the Swiggy. Means if at all certain things has been come as an inbuilt, we will try to use that rather than going for other thing out there. Many apps will have this particular inbuilt, right? So it means to give you, so the same feature will have it in another app also. but still as it is an inbuilt, so that we will be trying to use that. So that is how all these particular lists and everything will be using only with this particular iterators. But understanding the concept of this particular iterators and usage of this particular iterators will be not done by majority of the people, because the ease of use. Everyone will jump into for loops, by loops, because that is very simple to understand and do it. So that is where they'll use this. Iterators, very less number of people will be using it. But if someone is using in their code the iterators and enumerators and the list iterators, really they have a very good knowledge on the collections. So this is how we derive. Whether you use for loop or iterators, by seeing that one we can understand. So, but for when you are learning, you don't need to start with the iterators. First you start with the loops and everything, then you come to the iterators, understand that thoroughly, and then use it. See, now before you are going to use it, a word, you should know about the word completely, then only you can use that, or else you shouldn't use that one, right? So that is the reason. Learn first of all you need to learn what is list, then only you can perform this particular iteration in that particular list, then you can come to the crushers. That's the reason this topic we kept it always last. But the basic difference you should know. What the for loop and for this particular iterators. Iterator have the capacity to move to next or for before. In any direction it can iterate and then it can get it. But for loops, we can have only one direction. It can go only one way and then get it. Either you can take this direction or either you can take this direction. Not both at one shot. Increment, decrement. So that is where this particular iterators will help you with this. Okay. So, however, that we will discuss later the part. Now, what are the other things we need to learn about the list? So, list implements further means this particular list is an interface. So, first of all, we need to know that list is an interface inherited by the collections. You can write these particular pointers. So, first pointer is list is an interface inherited from the collections, and it will help to handle a group of elements, and then we can perform the different type of operations, and it maintain the insertion orders. It will have the indexing for accessing the elements, and it can have the duplicates, and it can have the null values, and it belongs to the Java util collections package, right? And now next one is, it will means this particular list can be implemented in the classes of array list, linked list, and vector stack. So these are from Java 1.2 and these are from 1 version, which are legacy. Vector and stack, which are legacy classes, right? So that is what they wanted to talk about this one, right? And this particular list can be iterated with the help of list iterator. And so these are the methods which it can support, the interface methods in the list. Now, what are the methods we have? Add all. So you don't need to tell everything, right? So at least basic things we have: add and overloaded add with the different parameters, add all and remove all, replace, retain, set. So these all things are there. Size, these at least 5-6 methods. It's not that you need to tell all the methods. See, some people will be there. I'm telling you, right? Only one lady. So she used to tell me there are 18 methods in the list. The 18 methods are this. And I tried her. Means, when she was saying that, I thought that she would be giving a random number and then in a fluke she meant. But she explained me everything. Every method. I'll not leave, right? So she blown me out. And then the implementations. So still I kept that particular implementations she has been done with that. Yesterday, while I was referring this one, I came to see that. I got to see that particular packages, and it is available in our repository also. So now, so you can see that the means she implemented each and every methods from that. So you can go, obviously, definitely you can take that particular things and then you can verify. The intent repo, Java, you have in the implementations, you have that one. I think you just refer that. You can find out the particular implementations also. So this is what a list is. Now we understood how, if someone asks you questions, now here, how many pointers you have been listed on? Now tell me, is it really hard? And I'm telling you, right, I bet you go and ask anyone who is having at least 6 to 8 years and ask them what is a list. See, many a times, especially this is for our internal team. So many a times I said, hey, I'll connect and then I'll talk to you and then I'll ask the questions. But I never connected because when if I connected and then asking you these particular questions, if you miss to give me these answers, really I can't take it up. So that's the reason multiple times I have been missed it. Not a regular pattern we shouldn't ask. To know, if you wanted to understand each and every candidate, their capacity and the skill set. So you need to touch the point where we can get their real essence of the knowledge. Simple question will gives you the level of expertise of yours. I'm telling you, right? Many people will complete their course as trainings. If you go for, I don't know now how it will be, but in our time, so the people only knows Amirpet, the coaching centers. They'll go there, they'll train. Within 15 days, 20 days, they'll come out and search for the jobs. They'll never get the job. They will compromise. They will go for the call center. They work in the call centers day and night. Many graduates completing after their BTech, they don't know what to do, how to do. And you know what? I see the people who completed their masters. And one, I told you, right? One, I don't know whether I have been told you the story, or not the story, so real fact. So one guy came and he was trying to fit me the internet connectivity for Geo. And actually his shirt was torn and he's not properly dressed. And he was trying to go top and bottom because ours is three-store building. So he need to go to the top, he need to fix that and come down. And then I just asked him, hey boss, what had happened? He started to explain me in technical terms because he also works in the same pattern. So so then I asked, hey, what you study? And then he said, I'm masters in electrical and electronic means electrical engineering. I said, not in electric, EC, electronics and communication. Masters in EC, not even graduate, and hardly he will be getting around 10 to 12,000. And the effort he keeps only for one connection, and he need to roam here and there. And as soon as he come, I literally yelled at him because it been delayed for me because the internet connection. Without internet connection, I can't do anything. I do always maintain 2 connectivities, but still that is delayed. And another one also I have a problem. Literally, the tears rolled at me in my eyes by seeing him and talking to him. See, now every year we'll be having more than 7 lakh graduates. 7 lakh only from, I'm talking from Andhra. I'm not talking from all other states. If you calculate this one, it will go around 26, 28, 29 right now. 29 states into approximately, if you go for 5 lakh graduates. If you've taken it, I'm talking about PGs, postgraduates of this one. And especially, I'm only talking from one wing, which is from BTech, not from different entities, from medicine or from the degree graduations you've taken it. Do you think that all the people are working for the right things? absolutely, absolutely, this is an injustice. And then we should have the dignity of labor. So it's not that I was really proud that he shouldn't do that. No, no, I'm not thinking that. But what I felt is, so for him, it is much more better. There will be a much more better place for him to do that, which it is not happening. The efforts, the things which the people will keep, the, the right guidance at the right time, if someone gets it, so definitely they'll be in good places. See, we only see Sundar Pichai, or we see only Elon Musk or Steve Jobs, these people. There are many people who don't have the opportunity to reach to that. If they are really having it, they can build multiple things like this. What it made the difference is the knowledge and the skills and how they wanted to present. That makes a lot of difference between the people. Obviously, the education makes a lot of differences, but the same education, when until we complete our graduation, we don't even know what